Hello. Okay, here we are in another podcast, a video podcast. You can listen to it, you can watch it, however way you want to do it, with Dr. John Onyango. And he is going to tell us a little bit about himself. He's got a long life trajectory, a lot of life experience. He's an educator, an architect, you name it. So this is live with Purpose with Laura Galdo and my guest today. I am so pleased to have him. I have to say though, I have to say that I was honored to have him as my supervisor at some point in my career, in my educational career. And ever since then, he's been one of my role models in my life. So I really have to say that before we go on. So, John, go ahead, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. I'm John Onyango, and as Laura's told you, I'm an architect. I'm also an educator. I was born in Kenya, in Africa, from a large family of 20 kids. So grew up sharing things. So sharing is just something that's part of our lives, because when you're that many, you don't go into the idea of mine, but ours. So that's how I grew up. My father was a surveyor. My mother was a midwife. And there are a lot of things that they taught us about people and support of others, because we had all my cousins actually stay with us going to school. I was educated at the University of Nairobi in Kenya for my bachelor's degree, and I worked there for 5 years before moving to the UK, where I also worked for a year and a half before moving to the United States for my master's degree at the University of Notre Dame, and worked in Atlanta for 5 years. And then the Middle East, began teaching there, went back to Scotland to do my PhD, and worked in academia in Northern Ireland before coming to Miami, working at Miami, and then now at Notre Dame, where I'm associate professor of architecture.
And I'm assuming that all this trajectory and all these experiences in these different countries taught you many languages, correct? I understand you speak a couple of languages.
I've had opportunity to speak many languages, not only because back at home in Kenya, we all speak at least two languages. So I speak English, Swahili, and Luo, which is my native language. I also speak Arabic and Spanish, and a little bit of Italian. So traveling has allowed me to, take languages and learn them and use them. And it helps me actually to engage with guys from different communities, different backgrounds, because it's easy for me to really have a conversation and to see their perspective, because language is part of a culture.
It is definitely, and that is what opens the door to many opportunities. The language is what
Absolutely.
opens the door to communications in your career, not only at home. With what do you said you have 20 siblings? Did I?
20 siblings. You had it right.
Wow, that I didn't know. That's a surprise for me.
10, 10, 10 male, 10 females.
Wow, wow, that what a
Yeah,
for family and what a life lesson to learn from a very early age. So
absolutely.
absolutely. So how was your leaving your country, and how did you come to even do that? How did you get that opportunity?
Uh, it's very interesting because by the time I was going to university in Nairobi, there wasn't much of a master's degree in architecture in Nairobi. It used to be there and then it died, So basically, you know that if you intend to go for further studies, you have to go abroad. So it was very typical, at least for us from my university, that people would either go to the US or the UK. In the US, there were basically about three places we went to: either university, MIT, Harvard, or UC Berkeley. And then if you're in the UK, basically went to Cambridge, um, Glasgow, Manchester, or Sheffield. And then if you went beyond those places, then you went to Australia, which is Sydney. And those are related mainly because of we had scholarships that covered people to go and study in those particular places. So I knew that at some point I would go to school abroad, because I intended at some point in my life to become an academic, or at least to teach and give back to my community by teaching. So I knew that. So when opportunity came in, then I applied to go to school in the UK, and that's why I ended up being at the University of Wales, to the Prince of Wales. And then from there, I worked there. And then while I was working there, I got to meet a colleague who went to University of Notre Dame, who told me about Notre Dame, and therefore I did come to Notre Dame.
Wow. Tell me, John, because I know you as a person who is very humble from the beginning,
Hmm.
nothing to hide, very open. And I'm sure that, yes, you did learn all this from sharing your life as a
Hmm.
child with many siblings, with, also going through different countries, learning. You had to humble yourself, to
Hmm.
learn different things. Do you have an example in your life? I think you were telling me something very special the other day that really resonated. Do you have a special story in your life of where you experience not always what you give, you're always giving and sharing, but also someone who helped you at some point and that marked your life forever?
Yeah, you know, I have to confess that for me as a Christian, one of the things that I have learned is the giving part, but also being willing to receive. Because number one, God does give back to us, and if we're not willing to receive, then we don't get it. So in my case, one of the things that impacted my life was when I was coming to Notre Dame from my graduate school. The day before I was to fly out, I went back to my office where I worked in London because they were going to take me for lunch, a farewell lunch. And the phone rang just before we were about to leave. And somebody picked it up and said, John, is for you. I said, I don't pick up phones because I don't work here anymore. You guys should answer those questions because they're no longer my professional questions. I won't be back here in the afternoon. And the guy said, no, it's from the US. I said, US? So I picked the phone and a lady called Mary, I was on the line, and she said, my name is Mary and I'm a Notre Dame alumni. And I'm just calling you to let you know, and I'm grateful that I found you, that tomorrow when you come in, I'm going to pick you from the school gate and you're going to stay with me for a month. And I said, okay.
And this Mary was a friend of yours, someone you knew for a long time?
I had no idea who Mary was. I had never met Mary. And she invited me to her house to stay for a month to provide for me a place to settle. And she invited me into her house where she had two daughters and myself. I mean, this is not something that you take very lightly. And she took that risk to bring me in and provided me the opportunity to learn how to move around, provide me the bicycle to use to go to school. I mean, it was amazing. It touched me a lot. And I remember telling this story about 2 years ago at the University of Notre Dame in fundraising, and I broke down because it touched me. She didn't know who I was, never met me, and then chose to provide scaffolding for me. She was the scaffolding that allowed me to settle and to climb somewhere to be who I am.
That was a very special thing that happened to you, and of course you broke down. I mean, you're telling me the story, you told me the story the other day, and I'm like, wow, that is amazing, especially now that we live in a world in which we are afraid to trust. We are afraid to
Absolutely.
live. We want to, but we have this thing or limiting belief, call it
Hmm.
whatever, call it bad life experiences
Yeah, yeah.
that we want to give.
It is difficult to trust in the world that we live in, and and I think for me, for example, the challenge I've always dealt with this through you know listening. At least I go back to my Christian background. God impresses me on what to do. I have a story which I had never told you. Is that when we lived in Scotland, I was a student there at the University of Glasgow. One Sunday evening, I was going back home. And normally there's a path that I followed on the way home. It was about 8 o'clock at night. In the winter, it's really dark. It gets dark there around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you can imagine how dark it was by that time. But this particular day, I went through this path right in front of the main library, Mitchell Library. And I was walking through, I heard somebody ask in Spanish. He said, Ayúdame. And I'm in Scotland. I'm saying, in Scotland, in speaking in Spanish. Am I dreaming? So I sort of
You
ignored
know
it.
Spanish already back in Scotland?
By then, I knew Spanish
You
already.
already knew. Ah,
Yes. So I sort of hesitated. I said, no, it can't be. I just kept going a little bit. And I said, no, somebody is asking for help.
my
I,
imagination.
yes, I went back and I realized there's a pile of boxes there and somebody was underneath. And as I peeped down and said, yes, can I help you in Spanish? And he told me, yes, I'm very cold and I'm very hungry. And I was thinking, normally people beg for money and then they're going to drink. I'm like, I don't want to give him money for drinking. So I told him, okay, I don't have any money with me, but I'll be back with food. And I walked home because I'm just nearby. I told my wife about this, and she's like, we can't let that guy stay out there. Let's go back and bring him in, have some hot food, take a shower, clean himself. And I mean, whatever it is, we try to see how we can help him. I went back and he was scared because he had been beaten by somebody who came back to, on the street. So I was really afraid. I told him, don't be afraid. Come home and we'll take care of you. And we allowed him to take a shower, call his family to tell him he was fine. And he ate with us, and he had a wound on his leg. I took him to hospital the next day. He was treated because in the UK we get treatment. And then he stayed with us for about a week. And over that week, we found him a job in London through a network of people that we know, because he had a driver's license that he could drive, which was very helpful for him. So it was something that, you have to have that gut feeling, God speaking to you, the spirit that, you can help, it is safe. Because, I mean, how else could I trust this guy? And he's going to be at home. I'm going to be leaving the house the whole week, going to school during the day. My wife is there. I don't know the guy. He has a key to the house. And, we kept in touch for quite some time.
So you had an opportunity to pay it forward, in a way.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
the situation with Mary occurred before that or after that? Which one?
Mary was much earlier. Mary's situation occurred in 1997. This one occurred probably in 2008 or 9.
Okay, so you paid it back in a way, and I'm sure when you were doing that, you were not thinking, "Oh, wait, Mary did this for me. I'm going to go ahead and do this for this person."
No,
It comes out naturally, correct?
it just comes out naturally. You cannot. It is not a business enterprise where you say, "I pay back, I get back." It is not like that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Wow. No, no, no. I know that I knew that this podcast was going to be very special with a lot of stories, but we only have so much time. I really
Yes.
want to get you, I want to get you into tell me a little bit about your family, because you have a beautiful family. And your wife, I understand, she is from a completely different background than yours, correct?
Absolutely. My wife is from Costa Rica. This is where I am right now. Actually, I'm in Costa Rica
Costa Rica.
because I'm on sabbatical. Yeah, she's from San Jose, and we have 2 kids, 2 boys. One who's just going to be 10 this year, and the other one going to be 7. So we are from very different backgrounds. I mean, she speaks Spanish and English and French. And when we met, she didn't speak much English. I didn't speak much Spanish, but God made us communicate somewhat the language of love, to know each other and go on trust.
The language of love.
Yes, and go on trust. And it's been great trusting God on these matters and growing together. And, Miami was also great bringing family up there. It was the first time we moved with a young child, and we were able to grow there. And my Spanish increased a lot because I was in Miami. I would speak Spanish there. At least a lot of people do speak Spanish. Just helped me a lot. And we've enjoyed that as a family.
Yeah. And what do you what's one of the main messages that you tell your boys when it comes to knowing your 5 W's and the H, which is who, what, when, where, etc. Like what do you want? Where do you want to go in life? And how are you going to accomplish that?
For me, and I know not everybody believes the way I believe, for me, the most important thing is God. And I say, God is important because God defines who I am. I'm a child of God. So I bring them up, reminding them every single day, you're a child of God. God defines you, not anybody around you. Once you know who you are in God, then you know who you are in this family. You belong to our family. We love you with all our hearts. We do everything for you. You are from a mixed background, and we love you, and we're happy to have you. So we identify with that and tell him, don't be afraid of dealing with people out there. They're different. It doesn't matter. You know who you are. What they say about you doesn't matter, but who you are really, really matters, defines you. And where you want to go again, commit that to God. Whatever God wants you to go to, open your mind and follow it. Not easy, because you have to be connected. It's like knowing your parents. You can hear them call you and you know who's calling you. But if you don't have a good relation with your parents, if they call you, you won't know. Anybody can actually mislead you. So it's very important you have a very clear definition of who you are in God, in your family and in your life. And then you can go forward.
And who are you?
For me, I am a child of God. I am a child born in Kenya, and I am somebody who believes in others. I'm a staircase, a ladder. People can climb my back to get to where they're going. I'm willing to share, even to lose what I have for others to have opportunity. That's who I am. That's who defines me.
I like that. I'm a staircase. I never heard that before. You
Because
like that?
people don't like being staircases because staircases are stepped on.
It depends.
Exactly.
Use it.
It very much depends
You see,
because
I saw it as
staircases are
something positive.
devised for going up.
Right. I saw it as something positive right away when you said it. I didn't think of it negative. I didn't think of oh, somebody's stepping on me, somebody's, whatever, doing something negative to me or to my surrounding. I saw it as something very positive. What else you have to say about that?
No, no, for me, I see it as positive, but also I do know through my experience that people may see it as negative.
Uh-huh.
It's like a glass of water, half full or half empty. I always look at a glass half full, not half empty. It's getting there rather than it's getting depleted. And because of that, I have a positive outlook to life. So I'll give you an example. When I met you when I was at MIAUD, when we worked together,
Art Institute, yes. Mhm.
yes, I came in there on one of the things I came to do was to reorganize some of the programs we had there and also to get a reaccreditation for the program. People are afraid to do that. And I said, I'll take the task. I've never done this before, but I'll work with it. Because these are things that follow process, procedures. And I went through that by working with colleagues and building this up, and success came out. Not because of me, but because I could see the possibilities. I didn't see the negative side. I could see we can get this.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
And when I worked with you, it's the same story. We can get this. We can get this done.
mhm, mhm. What do you have to tell people that are not have not being able to understand how important it is to have faith, some kind of faith, to believe in something, some kind of something, you know,
Yeah.
how important and
It,
how key it is to our lives.
it is very important to have faith in whatever you want to have faith in. I have faith in God, but you can choose whatever you want to choose. But to me, the most important thing is that recognizing there's something out of yourself because you came into being through other means. So there's something outside you. So it's very important to recognize that. You don't move the wind. It's important to recognize that. You don't grow the plant. Important to recognize that. So there are things beyond you that one needs to look at. And to me, that recognition is very important. To me, that recognition is where I see God in. And whatever form somebody wants to look at it that way, I see that as the most important thing in life.
So, what is your why? Is your why now the same one as your why before? Or your why now the same one as the why that you want it to be in your future?
It is interesting that you asked me that question. Not that I dwell on it a lot. If you look at the why is a nice question. Why is this happening? What is the reason for it? My whys always change, but I think the way they change is that they allow me opportunities to explore the unknown. Ah, so I look at it like if you look at Newton's case, the apple fell and he said, why did that apple fall? So in this case with me, I also look at situations and questions the why. Why is that happening? Not because I don't say it's not my business. I always look at it and say, why is it like that? And for this very reason, whenever I approach things, whether it's my family or people I work with, I'm always observant and asking why. There's a book that I read some time back. I don't remember the author, so I'm sorry to say that. But the title is well known, Who Moved My Cheese? Knowing the cheese is depleting and asking the questions, why is the cheese depleting is very important. And that has taught me a lot in life, being able to see changes to things and asking why and begin to position myself in the right place before anything else happens. I always seem to be a step ahead. And I think the why to me, the perception again comes from God providing me with that ability to see things that I may not even know why I'm seeing them. When I was in high school, in Kenya, we do A-level system. So we do exams at the end of the year that allows you to go to university at A-levels. And I remember the night before my physics exams, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Why did I wake up at that time? I don't know, but I had this impression to go look at these two particular sets of problems. A disk rolling down a slope and an electron being fired onto another electron and trying to find out the shortest distance between them. And I went and I studied those problems for about 2 hours and I went back to bed. And guess what happened at
Like
exams
you
that
got in the
afternoon?
test.
They had exactly those questions and national exams. And these are topics that are supposed to be out of the syllabus. They were there. So why?
Is it fair to say that instead of thinking of why,
Mm.
then what you do is just you actually wait for what is placed on your mat in front of you, and then take it from there?
Well, one could
There's always
say
there's always a reason, perhaps, or
there's always a reason, perhaps, for most things that come your way. But I think if one just says, I'm just going to wait, on the other hand, you may end up not finding anything because it's like, I need to cross this street to go to the other side. And I won't go because I'm afraid of cars. I'll have to wait for somebody to take me across. Nobody may take me across because nobody may realize that I'm afraid to go across. So sometimes one has to either seek by asking, can somebody take me across? Or taking the first step of faith. If I step on that road, the driver might stop, not will stop, might stop. Or somebody may see me and say, you're at risk, and will run over and help me, pull me back, or take me across. So one has to be willing to go to untested waters, even if you don't know what's coming your way. One has to be willing to plan for the future, even if you don't know what the future may be. A good example, why do you save if you're going to die tomorrow? Well, you save because you may not die tomorrow. You save because your kids will need this. Even though you will die and not even use them, that doesn't really matter. You save because somebody else may benefit from it. You do this because they are known. You don't know, but you still do it. Why? My kid asks me sometimes, why do we shower if we're going to get dirty? Exactly, same way. You still shower because tomorrow you get dirty, but you still shower
no,
because you do it.
like I used to ask, like, why do I have to make my bed
Exactly. Well, I'm just going to go in and get it messed up. Yeah.
again? So yeah. So do you believe in destiny?
Yes, I believe in destiny. But again, I'll take this back to my Christian background. My destiny is God wanting me to be with God. That's my destiny. Now, how I get there, the journey, I don't know. The journey could be a journey from Nairobi to London to Chicago to Miami. I do not know what the journey is, but I believe in destiny. Yes, destined for good things, not for bad things.
So you believe that you can tweak destiny to your advantage depending on your beliefs, depending on your effort in life and the things that you do. So you can design, perhaps, or you as an architect, perhaps you
I would say
can
you can
design that.
design. You can design. You can design in the sense that you can charter the path you want to take.
Mm.
Yeah, you can charter. You can say, I'm going to fly from San Jose in Costa Rica. I need to go to South Bend, and I'm going to fly through Miami, or I'm going to fly to Dallas, or I'm going to fly to New York. In that sense, I can charter that. I can plan that journey.
Mhm.
Now, the outcome of it, I do not know because I may go to the airport and the flights are canceled and I have to go somewhere else. But I can plan that, I can charter that with intent to get to a destination. Knowing the destination and having a plan to get there helps you to get to that destination. So in that case, you can charter it.
And what colors will you use in your design?
What colors are you using in design? Oh, I should say, I am a guy who's dark. I like vibrant colors. So I would go for what do you call them? Earthly colors, bright colors. That's what I like. I like them bright. I
Right.
like the sun. I like them bright completely.
So if you were to design something, what would you design as a legacy to leave in the world?
If I should design anything as a legacy, I would design a school.
Mm.
I would design a school because it is an institution that provides education to people, whatever form of education, whatever kind of education.
Mm.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge doesn't mean you will have things, but it helps you make decisions, being able to find things and deciding on what to do. I think to me, that is be a more important legacy. And maybe I get this from my father, who always told us that our inheritance is our education. He taught us a lot about that, and he talked about that all the time.
I'm
Education
sorry,
is
did
the.
you say your father?
My father always told us education is your inheritance, and I'll give you that. So long as you work hard, I will always provide you with education. Don't
Hmm.
expect inheritance from my properties.
Funny you say that because I was going to ask you who is your role model.
Well, on this earth, my father is my role model in one hand. He was available. He talked to us. He helped us grow. He helped others as well. Uh, Outside this earth, my role model will be somebody who walked this earth, which was Christ, who provided to people everything. Everything provided that, everything. Human beings don't always do that, they can let you down. So I look to that. And when things don't seem to be right, I still look to that because I know that my friends can let me down. That's still my friends, even if they let me down. I don't throw them under the bus. But I know God won't let me down. So in that case, my destiny is tied to God.
Mhm, mhm. So your
Yeah.
role model is someone who you
Hmm.
think that will never let you down.
Yeah,
And the person
absolutely.
who will never let you down is
God
God.
to me. God, yeah.
Hmm. John, what is your pain?
My pain, my pain would be seeing somebody or seeing myself doing what I know is wrong willingly.
What is
That's
wrong
my
with
pain.
you?
What do you mean wrong with me? I think what is wrong is, say, for example,
I mean, what is wrong for you? What do you
what
consider?
is wrong for me?
Mhm, mhm.
That's a good philosophical question. Um, so we can look at it from two sides. One could be what is based on regulation. In other words, if I work in an institution and these are the things to be done and they don't do them, then that is wrong. So in that case, it is wrong because that's the agreed norm. On the other hand, on the bigger picture, what is wrong is what I look at from Christian perspective, what is against God's law that is wrong. Now, if that happens, I don't throw people out, but I have what you call mercy. I look at coaching, I look at supporting them. Somebody fails, I don't say, you're done, I'm out of here. No, I look at the opportunity of having that conversation and sharing my experiences and saying, why don't we look at the possibilities of if we look at it this particular way? Because that is how God looks at us, and I think that's how I like to look at people.
So you base your answer to this question, what is your pain? You base it
Mm.
on the things that you have gone through yourself
Yes, correct.
in order to teach
Hmm.
others that are possibly
Absolutely
going through the same thing, uh,
correct. Or may not be going through the same thing, but might go through the same thing.
but will go perhaps. Hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I know that you're not just an architect or an educator. I know that you have a lot of talents and a lot of abilities, and coaching, I believe, it's one of them.
Hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, moving forward, do you have what? No, first, what are the dreams that you considered you have accomplished?
Well, on a personal front, the fact that I was able to get my education to the level that I've got, that's a dream for me that's achieved because something that I'd wished for. And before my father died, he had actually told me he dreamt that I was actually there. So I'm happy that that happened. Also, the dream of having family and being able to take care of them, that's a very important dream for me. I've achieved that. Late in life, yes, but I've achieved it. And I'm very happy about that. The dream of having met people that I've worked with, um, people like you and others who are at MIU, the at University of Miami, Notre Dame, whatever I've worked in, those are to me are dreams accomplished. So to
Very,
me, those are the
very
things I
well.
look for. Yeah.
Mhm.
Seeing
And
my students getting forward and growing and being who they are beyond me, those are dreams achieved, and I'm very happy about that.
mhm, mhm. And I guess be able to lend a hand, to help, to
Yeah.
support, to
Hmm.
do the same things that somehow others did to you in the past.
Absolutely.
And so moving forward, that which is the original question that I wanted to ask you, what okay, so you have accomplished those dreams. So what is your dream now?
My dream now is to continue the same dream that I had before. It's not done. It's always something new coming across. The grass is always seem to be green on the other side. So, uh, career-wise, the dream is to keep going forward into other areas of helping others grow, whether faculty members, students, whatever the case may be.
Expand.
Personally, yeah, and personally is to get closer to God and see my kids grow, go to college. Those are things that are personal. Making the world a better place. Look at the environment where we live in, let it be better than it was before. So to me, that's very important that things always go forward as opposed to going backwards. How you define forward, it very much depends on what you look at.
I wanted to ask you something about going back again to legacy because I had another guest in my podcast the other day, and we were talking about
Mm,
legacy and leaving a legacy and how important it is
mm,
or not to leave a legacy. Some people
mm,
are of the belief that you don't need to leave a legacy. All you need to do is just make sure that what you do now it's
mm,
good enough. So when you pass, that's it. It's over.
mm.
That everybody's gonna forget and all that. What do you think about that?
Well, I find that perspective very interesting. I think legacy is very important. If we didn't think legacy, we wouldn't think of having family. If we didn't think legacy, we wouldn't think about our parents. If we didn't think legacy, we wouldn't think about our schools, our communities. We won't be fighting about things. We won't be saying, I don't like you for this. This is the right way of doing things. It's about legacy, really. Legacy is very important because legacy relates to support systems for others. Legacy relates to history. Legacy relates to culture. Legacy relates to just defining who you are, really. So we can't ignore that.
Mhm. Absolutely, right? And
Yeah, at least to me, I think it's important.
it's important, and yeah, it is important to make sure that what you do here right now it's good
Hmm.
enough. But it's
Absolutely.
I just cannot conceive the idea that I'm working so hard right now to be better and better each time, and then
Mm,
everything's over, and then I'm not leaving anything
mm,
behind.
mm. I don't believe so either. I mean, I think there's a lot more to do beyond that.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. So, I always like to do something with my guests, and I ask them from, so from their wisdom and from life experiences to perhaps offer some tips to the audience on how to live a better life, how to overcome obstacles. You pick, live a better life, overcoming obstacles. What are some of the tips that you can share with the audience that have helped you in the past and that you recommend for the audience to follow as an actionable that they can do something after they finish listening to us?
Interesting. Once a friend of mine told me that people skills is very important because for you to have anything to do with other people to help them, relationships become very important. And he said jokingly that God did not give you two ears and one mouth for a reason. He said, listen more, speak less. As you listen, let it go through your head because your head sits between the two ears. Your brains are in there. Process them before they come out of your mouth. So my advice is always to let people listen, think through things before they make decisions and speak them out. Because sometimes we're very quick to speak things out before we've thought them through, and then they tend to hurt people around us very badly. That would be my advice. If we follow that, I think we'll be okay.
So listen more
Yeah,
and eat less. Is that what
speak less. Yes. One mouth, two ears. Proportionally, you should listen more and speak less.
that is true. That makes so much sense.
And the brain sits between the ears, so they should process that before they come out of your mouth. This is my thinking anyway. This I was told that, and I seem to like it.
agree. I love it, and I think everybody's gonna love it too. I totally
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, yeah,
Right. It's only one mouth, so there's no reason why to eat the same amount as as if you had two, like the ears. Oh, that's so lovely. I really
yeah.
enjoy that. Anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up here? It's been a lovely conversation. I know we
Oh,
could be here for 3 hours, but we have to wrap it up.
all I can say is thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for reaching out to people and sharing this, coaching of others, and sharing with them is very, very important. I think our role, we are role models to others, even if we don't think they see us so. People do see us as role models, and I think it's very important that we share positive things with them and give them positive outlook to life, no matter what happens around us. It's very, very important we do that, and to let them know that we're there to listen,
Yeah.
to dare to support them, and to speak words of wisdom to them. So reaching out, telling them, we're staircases for them, we're scaffolding for them. Without scaffolding, nobody ever gets anywhere. So we need to work together to get things going forward.
Yeah, yeah, that's my purpose in Life with Purpose podcast is actually
Hmm.
to walk with purpose, to know
Yes,
that it is possible, that things are
it
doable.
is. It is. It is very possible. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that things are doable, that things are possible, that yes, of course you have to do your work.
Hmm.
It's like nothing is like they say nothing is for free. That's a cliche,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but you got to do your work. You cannot expect for everything to happen and then I'm just going to sit down here, have a beer and wait
And
for
chill out.
realize.
Yeah.
But absolutely. So life with purpose is basically that. So to show people, to let them know,
Absolutely.
yes, like
Absolutely.
you, that it doesn't matter where you were born, your
Hmm.
background, your what your the way you think in life,
Yes.
as long as
Hmm.
you put yourself, into meeting your accomplishing your dreams, follow your
Yes.
everything is possible.
Absolutely. Everything is possible. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. I really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being
I
there
appreciate
and reaching
it.
out to me.
God bless you and your family. Thank you for
Igual.
your
Thank
time.
you.
Bye.
Bye.